So, those of you who've been following the news might have heard about this article that came out from the BBC. The title is Blow to Multiple Human Species Idea. And what it's about was a discovery that was made where it turns out that what we thought were 3 different species of ancient human beings actually were probably just one species. Now, granted, there's scientists who are arguing for the one species viewpoint and scientists who are arguing for the 3 species viewpoint. However, these discoveries are definitely interesting. So historically we have thought that 3 different types of fossils that we have found from 3 different groups of human beings, we have historically thought that they were 3 different species. But the skulls that were discovered from this particular finding would seem to indicate that these were actually all one species, just with a lot of physical variation between them. Now, this is really something because creation scientists have argued for years that modern human beings, Neanderthals, as well as Homo erectus, are all one species. We just have some physical variation between us, the way that poodles and Great Danes are actually the same species, they just have a lot of physical variation. So this is a very interesting article. Now, of course, obviously they'll say that the skull they discovered was 1.8 million years old. Obviously creationists would disagree with the dating methods, and like I've said in my other video, there are thousands of scientists around the world arguing for young Earth creation. They might be a minority, but they are there, and they've got some pretty decent numbers. And so I think that this is a pretty good article. I highly encourage people to read it, and also I think this is a good time to be a creationist. I mean, I remember last quarter we learned that there was a study that was done recently where we found out that Neanderthals and modern human beings are actually the same species as well. It turns out that Neanderthals actually interbred with our ancestors, and now people of European and Asian descent are actually about 1% Neanderthal. Actually, that could be a little wrong. Maybe people of Asian descent had a slightly different number. But anyway, you get the idea. People of Asian and European descent actually have a little bit of Neanderthal DNA in their genomes, whereas people from African descent didn't have any Neanderthal DNA. So it was kind of interesting because it proved that the 2 groups could interbreed, that by a normal standard definition of the word species, they'd be considered the same species. Now granted, biologists really don't agree on the definition of the word species, but that's okay. By a standard general definition, Neanderthals and modern human beings are actually the same species, and most people don't realize they actually made musical instruments, buried their dead, and practiced religion. They actually had a very sophisticated culture for people living way back when. By no means were they primitive ape men. That view of Neanderthals has been thrown out, and it's not taken seriously anymore except in cartoons. So I highly recommend reading this article. I'll provide a link, and let me know what you think. This is Greg, and check out my website as well, greenslug.com. And remember, slug is spelled with 2 G's. And while you're at it, check out my new website that I've been developing as well, blueslug.com. Again, slug is spelled with 2 G's. The new one is a science search engine, so if you're a science major of any sort, especially if your field is related to biotechnology, I'm a biotech major, or if you are a researcher, if you're a biologist or a biochemist or a geneticist, I also have a search engine on there for you as well. Remember, greenslug.com is my regular website, and blueslug.com if you are a science major or if you're a scientist. You're really going to like what I've done. Anyway, this is Greg, out.